Hey there, welcome to my channel. I'm Lynette. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some very simple habits that you can implement into your daily lives. And these are going to be really great eating habits for women who have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I too have PCOS, and these are definitely things that I live by. And for the most part, I'm pretty consistent with all of these little habits. So the first one is actually related to portion control. A large issue with PCOS is that we're dealing with insulin resistance in our bodies. Because of insulin resistance, I think there can be a tendency to overeat. So what I like to do is I eat on a salad plate for all of my meals instead of a regular sized dinner plate. I will, without any issues, fill up my entire salad plate with good, healthy food. By eating on a smaller plate and ensuring that my plate is full, it doesn't give me that kind of like poverty mindset where it's like, oh, I need to put more food on my plate because there's like emptiness or like blank space on my plate. So it's really nice to eat that way versus like a very large dinner plate where maybe you just fill up like a quarter of it and then you feel like, well, I can just put on more and more and more, and then you end up eating. So I always stick to a salad plate. It's just a daily habit now. I don't even think about it anymore. My next suggestion is to ensure that you're hydrated before you're eating. So a lot of times we can also overeat because we can't really distinguish between whether we're feeling thirsty or whether we're actually hungry. So what I like to do is maybe around 30 minutes prior to a meal that I'm going to be eating, like my lunch, I will try to drink a glass of water, if not two. I find that also fills me up a little bit, so I'm less prone to overeat during my lunch, but it also kind of helps my body be able to distinguish whether or not I was really hungry or actually I'm just maybe a little dehydrated and thirsty. So if you can get into the habit of obviously always drinking water, but specifically drinking water before meal times can also be really helpful. This third tip has probably been the biggest, most helpful tip for me when it comes to my polycystic ovarian syndrome and dealing with insulin resistance. And that is either measuring out sauces. So any type of sauces like barbecue sauce, ketchup, store-bought dressings, salsa, any sort of condiment really needs to be measured. And the reason I say this is because, not surprisingly, a lot of these kind of side sauces are actually packed with a ton of sugar, more sugar than women with PCOS should be ingesting. I measure how much sauce I give myself, so maybe like a tablespoon of ketchup is like the absolute max. Whatever sauce that you're using, just be mindful of how much sugar it is in each portion that you're consuming, and it's crazy how much sauce we can consume if we're not really like thinking through how much we're putting on our plate, or maybe we're going back for more and more and more, and it just adds up. When you have less sugar, it's better for your insulin resistance, and when you have less sugar, it's also better for your waistline. In the same vein, my next tip is to avoid store-bought salad dressings. I know in our minds a salad is like a very, very healthy thing, and I think generally they can be, but a lot of times the place that they end up becoming unhealthy for you is in the dressing. And a lot of times store-bought dressings are packed full of a lot of different ingredients, but also a lot of sugar, just like we talked about. And so what I like to do is actually make my own dressings at home. I did a whole video on like PCOS friendly meals, and it was a full day of cooking that I filmed for you guys. And specifically my lunch for that day, I made like a very healthy, delicious tuna salad, and the dressing I made at home. And it was just a combination of lemon juice and olive oil and a lot of really great seasonings and spices that added a lot of amazing flavor. So it in no way felt like it was lacking really. It was incredibly tasty. My suggestion is make dressings at home and use healthy fats like olive oil as a base. You can do a balsamic vinaigrette, a red wine vinaigrette, you can do lemon juice, and then in that you can add salt and pepper and garlic powder. I mean, there's just so many different varieties of ways that you can make your own salad dressings. You have the control to decide what goes into your dressing. So I love making my own homemade salad dressings. Highly recommend you do the same. My last tip to you guys is to find healthy foods that you really, really love. Foods that satiate you and your hunger, foods that make you happy, but also are healthy. Now, also on top of this, remember that just because they're healthy foods doesn't mean you get to like overindulge or engorge yourself on them because they're healthy. I still stand by the practice of intentional eating and making sure that you're not overeating, because that can still exacerbate your insulin resistance even if they are healthy foods. Something that I've done a couple of times that's helped with my like chip craving is I've made kale chips, just out of kale and olive oil. I think like some nutritional yeast and sea salt. Throw that in the oven, and now I have awesome kale chips. Another thing I really enjoy is cucumbers, slicing those up, getting some lemon juice, and then some chili flakes. I love spicy things, as you can tell, but that's like so satiating and so hydrating and so delicious to me. Whether you're a sweet tooth or you enjoy savory food like I do, my suggestion is to just find healthy alternatives, things that you can default to instead of defaulting to the junk food and unhealthy stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Once again, I'm Lynette, and I make videos on polycystic ovarian syndrome health and how I basically manage it completely naturally, and how I live a sustainable, minimal lifestyle in the midst of that. So if you're interested in this content, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.